everyone, it's Geo, and this is Gracious Guidance Chat. I'm joining you from my home office today, and I just want to give you a few tips to prepare for 2026 with some goal reflection and goal preparation. So stick around, grab yourself a cup of tea, get your favorite journal, get your favorite pen. I'm gonna grab mine right now. And let's get started as we review our past year and prepare for the new year with intention. Alrighty, so let's get started. And I will show you what I have written as we're going through everything. So I do a couple of things as I look back at my year, and one of the things that I actually just started doing in the past year that I really liked and added on to my reflection for this year was top 30. So shout out to my bestie Janae. She gave me this idea last year and was like, yeah, I always make a list of like my top moments, my top things in the past year. So I started it last year and I continued it this year. So I do a top 30, right? With of course the best moments in the top 5, top 10. So that's one way to start your reflection is just thinking about your past year and going over what were your top moments. Did you have great trips? Did you just have moments with family that just meant a lot? Did you have big milestones that are also a lot for you? So I'm still kind of working on my top 30. Kind of have to go through my camera roll, go through my stories, and if you're a big social media person, this could be really helpful for you to go over your top moments because you could just go through your archives and look at maybe certain event days. And even if you're not a social media person, maybe you like to take pictures like I do. I kind of just go through from the beginning of 2025 till the end and kind of look through, and it reminds me of everything because it's been a long year. It reminds me of everything that I've done over the past year. Literally seeing something like pictures with my nieces or nephews makes me remember that I got to visit them, and that was a very sacred moment for me. So that is one way to begin your reflections for 2025 is doing a top 30. If 30 is too much, maybe bring it down to your top 20, but top 30 helps you to really think back, be grateful about what you've gone through throughout the year. So another one that you can also do is um, I'm not going to put the number on it, but setting a number of things you were thankful for this year. So the littlest of things, it could have literally been that you woke up every morning. It could have been that you had a hot shower every morning. Little things to make you look back and just think about how blessed you were and what you're grateful for in the past year are a great way to look back at the past year. Okay, so let's continue to look on tips for reflection. So, some other things that I like to do in terms of reflection is so, usually when I do my goals, I use the four quadrant system, and I'll talk a little bit more about that further into the video. I use the four quadrant system. Basically, having four categories in my life. I usually go for career goals, personal goals, financial goals, and social goals. So what I will do is, and I'm a very creative person, and I'll show you guys all of this as I'm going through. And as I've created each section, usually what I will do throughout the quarters, throughout the year, is try to do quarter reflections based on each section that I decided to focus on in that specific quarter. So, for example, if I had chosen to focus on social goals in Q1, I'm going to do my Q1 review and look at how I did with my social goals. And so, talking more about end of year, I'm going to look through every section that I chose for the that year. So I'm going to do a review of my career goals. I'm going to do a review of my social goals. I'm going to do a review for my personal goals, and for each specific goal that I had, I'm going to write something down about it, something quick, something good, something meaningful, things that I need to work on, things that I did really well, and maybe goals that I can carry into the next year. Okay, so There are so many ways that you can reflect on your past year, and those are just a few. So, like I said, top 30 events, maybe top 20 gratitude things for the past year, and sectional reflections on each aspect of the goals that you chose for yourself. And so this is what I was talking about earlier when I said that I did quarterly reflections, right? So another thing that I like to do to make myself a little bit excited for each month is I put an adjective to go with the month. It kind of helps me to set the stage for what I want that month to look like. And then I also choose a section um, of the four sections that I want to focus on. So um, this past year was Joyful January, Fabulous February, and Make It Count March. I wrote down a specific date that I wanted to do my planning for the next quarter. I put a prayer on it, and then remind myself of the Bible verses and what in specific of those goals that I want to focus on. This helps me to not feel so overwhelmed with all the goals that I've set, but to make it piecemeal for myself. So this is what I did for my quarter review. And then let's talk a little bit more about SMART goals. Okay, so we have talked about various ways that you can reflect on your past goals, and I've talked about the four quadrant system. And so, again, I usually like to use the social, personal, career, and financial goals, but you don't have to stick to those four. You can do what other four areas that you feel like you need to set some goals in. So, for example, you could do spiritual goals. You could do specifically fitness goals. You could do whatever works best for you. It's about your personal growth and setting goals that are attainable and reachable for you, that are important to you, right? And we're being intentional about our goals. That was my word for the year in 2025, and we're carrying that over to 2026, okay? So let's talk a little bit about SMART goals. So, SMART goals, if you haven't heard about them before, this is something that is very helpful in setting like good goals in general, right? So, it's an acronym, right? So, S stands for specific. We are being specific about our goals. A lot of times we'll set goals. A lot of people will say, oh, I want to be healthy in this new year. That is a very broad goal. What does healthy look like to you, right? So let's be specific about this goal. Let's start with that broad goal of, I want to be healthy this year. What exactly do you want to do to be healthy, right? I want to be vegan. I want to have a vegan diet. That's a little bit more specific and allows you to now say, okay, I know this is what vegans eat and this is the type of diet that I want to do. Or I want to be vegetarian. That means you're not eating meat anymore, so you have to be specific. If you say I want to be healthy, does that include exercise for you? So being specific about that, setting something that's attainable for you to start off. If you know you cannot commit to working out every day, start yourself off piecemeal, right? Start, let me do 3 days, let me do 2 days, let me even start with 1 day a week if that's something that you know that you can do. Once you are able to hit that nail on the head with maybe that 3 day or that 2 day or that 1 day, up the ante, because maybe now you know that you can handle more, right? Okay, so we move on to M. M stands for measurable in SMART goals. How am I going to measure my progress with this goal that I've set? So again, we're working with the I want to be healthier this year. If I say that I want to be healthier this year, how am I measuring that I am becoming healthier? Did you have a wellness check at the beginning of the year to see that maybe I need to lose a certain amount of pounds? Maybe my doctor said that this diet would be better for me. And so that it really helps to do those quarterly check-ins, because if you check in at the end of the quarter and you realize that you've been spending more money on junk food than you have been veggies, then we definitely have to go back and check in with our progress and say, what do I need to do differently to keep up with this goal of being healthier this year, right? So that is M, which is measurable. A is attainable. Is this a goal that you feel like you can attain? Let's say, for example, again, we're going with that being healthy this year. Maybe you're in a health situation that just doesn't allow you to maybe be on that vegan diet, or maybe something that's not allowing you to be as active as you can. You have to ask yourself, is this something that I would really be able to attain? Or even if you are honest with yourself and you recognize that you're just not in a mindset right now to want to give up your junk food, give up your soda, that's okay to admit. You have to want to be able to want to do this. And so asking yourself a realistic question, is this an attainable goal? If you set your mind to it, it's something that you can do. But if you know you're just not in the space right now to want to attain this goal, then choose something else, right? So that is A. A is attainable. So I may have said the R was reachable before, but when you search SMART goals on Google, you're going to see different um, acronyms, right? But I'm going to say the R is relevant, right? So relevant, you have to, some of the A and the R are like, you have to be honest with yourself with these ones, right? So you have to ask yourself, hey, is this goal relevant to me right now? Now let's shift away from the being healthy one. Let's say that you want a new car, right? Now let's say you have a good working car. You need to ask yourself a serious question of, is this a relevant goal that I need to be reaching right now, when maybe I need to be paying off some debt, or saving up for a trip that I said I'm supposed to be taking, or saving up to pay off some student loans? I don't know. So you have to ask yourself, is this a relevant goal that I should actually be working on right now? So, like I said, A and R are two that you need to be honest with yourself, because you don't want to get yourself into a mess that you don't know how to clean up. So, asking yourself the serious questions, is this a relevant goal? Is this something that I need to be focused on right now? And T is timely or timed. And so, setting like deadlines, time marks for ourselves can be really helpful, especially if you're a procrastinator like me, because sometimes we're just waiting for that deadline and that's when we do our speed up. But sometimes setting the time is also a really good way of being able to go back to M and measuring if you are doing if you're doing well on your goal, if you're on track for what you had planned out for the year. So again, we're going back to the being healthy. If you said a part of your being healthy was that you wanted to lose 20 pounds by June, right? And you set it up in such a way during your M, when you were doing your M part, that I'm going to lose, I'm not doing the math correctly, but if I'm going to lose 2 pounds every other week, or every month, by the time you get to your June, you should have lost your 20 pounds, right? So if you get to June and we didn't lose the 20 pounds, then we need to do a reassessment. And this is where the grace comes in, because we're gracious guidance. This is where the grace comes in. We're not beating ourselves up. Sometimes you have to reassess if you were in a position to accomplish these goals. Sometimes there may have been some hindrances that we did not see on our way that were going to, kind of pull us back from accomplishing our goals, good and bad. So having grace for yourself and being able to say, okay, well, I still have 6 more months in the year. Can I reassess this goal? See what are the things that kind of stopped me in the past 6 months that would that I can now work on and allow myself to be able to better reach this goal in the next coming 6 months. And that is why the quarterly assessments are so important, because it really is helpful to just stop, breathe, and just check in how you're doing, especially at that halfway point of the year. Just being able to check in and see, how's the year going for me? I got 6 more months. What are some things that maybe I need to reassess and maybe I need to refocus on? Maybe the losing weight isn't something that I need to focus on right now. Maybe it's my finances that I need to focus on right now. And honestly, being able to check in with yourself and seeing, what can I actually handle right now, right? You're not Superman or Superwoman. Maybe you need to put one down and pick one up and focus and make that your priority for the rest of the year, or maybe for the rest of the month. But it's all about checking in with yourself, having grace for yourself, and recognizing what is important and what you can be intentional about as this year um, goes through. Okay. So, I have just given you guys a whole bunch of tips for reflection and preparing your goals for the new year. One last thing that I will add, vision boards for me are the bees and knees. I love a good vision board. And I think the beauty of a vision board is being able to see the things that you put on your board come into fruition year after year. Sometimes you may carry over the same images from a previous year because maybe it didn't come into fruition, but maybe now you can put it on the following year's vision board because you're still rooting for that goal, right? So vision boards are a great creative way, if you're a visual person like me, a great visual way to see your goals and your dreams come to life, right? So manifest what's best for you, put it into prayer, take it to God. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do. Don't give up, have the hope, and have grace for yourself. Again, this is Gracious Guidance Chats, and thank you for joining me with this goal reflection and preparation for this upcoming year. See you in the next video.